Hey everyone, Mr. Clutch here, checking in. Gonna do a recap video for today's action, August 3rd. Today was Thursday. And so let's jump right in. I'm gonna go ahead and draw some zones here. And we'll go through that. Before I get started, I want to just mention, I know I'm kind of waiting, like after next week, I'll start getting back on these more regularly. So I know schools start back up for daughter into next week, so probably that next Monday. And one of the things I'm thinking about doing, if it's interests anybody, is kind of doing like a pregame huddle early in the morning before market hours. Basically, do this review from the prior day and then kind of discuss the upcoming day. So, leave a comment, shoot a message, something if it's something that interests you or you'd be interested in hopping on the lives in the morning pre-market. So anyways, let's jump right in. We're drawing zones via Casey's method and the Team 2 Discord. We're taking the high of the day down to the high wick down to the candle of the next body. Now in this case, we're not going to take it all the way down here, so we take it kind of that previous body. Gives us a nice zone that hit right here, kind of where the closes of the pre-market hours were as well. So that's 2 days back. This here is today, Thursday's pre-market, so we're going to kind of look at this without seeing today's action first. Yesterday's high was kind of the open, or I guess it was the open. So I think we kind of could do something like that. It's kind of a big zone, but not too bad. It kind of just gives us an idea that right in here, maybe we could do that. And it kind of gets where this after market hours low settled in the day before, and we kind of back tested that. So I like that kind of as a zone there. And then our low of day down here, of course, which is right here. We'd probably try to just bring that up to match maybe this here, this little intraday wicks, and it kind of gets the low of the post market too. We can tighten that up to the bottom there. So that's the zones we're going to go with. We could go back farther, which looks like we probably should. This zone's right here. So our next lowest zone is going to be back to, looks like the 17th of July. And it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of like, so we probably take like this pre-market low and run it up to like the low a day close here from the previous day, something like that. Maybe even tighten it up just a little bit, something like that. Again, these are just areas, right? It's not like you're looking for the exact penny. Sometimes you can when you get a very clear pivot and it's like hit it twice to a penny. For the most part, we're just looking for zones. So let's look at today's action on the 2 minute, see what it looked like here, and see what plays we can find. So pretty choppy, pretty tight. What do we have for 447? So we had about a $3 range, but not a lot of great trading opportunities, I'd say. We had this big zone here, so it's kind of hard for me to trade in these because it's an area where like it could do anything. It could get in here and chop around and go up or down. So we're kind of using our EMAs. We come out and we look like we're dripping lower than even this low zone here, and so let's see here. If we're coming down, you're looking for maybe a flag back. That's too steep. Nothing really here that I like. Get volume off for now. You could kind of take like this rejection, this candle here. You could take the break and maybe scalp that a little. Then we come back up, and some of those times we're just kind of watching the 200. Some people like to play these. 200 reacts quite a bit of the time. So when it rejects, you could try to scalp something there, but you're scalping through zones and EMAs, and it's not the greatest. This is a very choppy area we're in right now. So then we get through this zone, and we actually push through the 200, so that's a good sign that we're going to maybe move up here. But we start hitting this zone. Again, it can chop around, do anything in here. It's just kind of riding the 13 and trying to make up its mind. I could see this is like the first actual flag of the day that I kind of like because it not only lines up, with this little high wick earlier, but it also comes right through this little what you consider a flag here. Kind of comes up and kind of flags back. So as soon as it kind of like gets above this and settles on it and is above the 13 here, I could see an entry there and riding that up. But then here you're looking for a flag back, and I don't know. I guess if you could get chopped up here if you weren't careful. You could draw something like that, and it kind of looks like it's going to go out. I could see you getting stopped entering on this candle here, thinking we're moving up, and then down it goes. Yeah, this is hard to find an entry here. You could zoom out and maybe play a longer trend line. Look at that, actually, that's pretty interesting. This is a really defined trend line, multiple touches. So when it actually breaks down and closes below, you could potentially, again, you got a zone below, you got EMAs the wrong way. This is just a pure speculation trend line breakdown, if that's your style. But as far as 2-minute plays, there's just not a lot of clear flags on today's action. Because again, if we zoom out back to the 15, like since, yeah, I guess it's really, yesterday was a nice move. We kind of moved out of this chop zone, and I have a feeling now we're going to come down into like a choppy area, right? It's like, it's kind of, if I was going to draw a big one, it's kind of like the high of that down to the low of that. As you'll see, this is a giant area of support when we were above it. We come down and tested this area quite a bit. I don't know if we go back. It doesn't look like it ever acted as resistance really, but you can just see kind of in this area it's chopping around. So I'd like to see it clear one way or the other. It's kind of hard to play. You never really know what's going to happen between the lines. So let's take a quick look at Qs and just see if there's anything here that was different. So we're looking at, on our 15-minute here, yesterday's low. It's actually a pretty tight zone that I like when they're tight like this. So it came right up to that wick and then kind of this low area earlier. Your high a day, yeah, actually it's kind of like that gap, the close of that gap. Maybe it's kind of hard to do it with how that was in pre-market. You could do something similar to you did for SPY, but in all reality, again, we could go back and look here, maybe that high, maybe this low. There's really not a lot back here. This is one of the things I actually saw Casey in Discord mention. This was a great point, that there wasn't a zone for pretty far in here somewhere, and so when that's the case, you're kind of just looking for where SPY might react and then kind of following that. But I mean, look at this action here. If we go out to the 2-minute, see, yeah, so we open under the zone, we take the zone, we're looking for a flag back, we fall down, now we're looking for a flag this way, we pierce back through the EMAs. I mean, just did not respect the EMAs at all today on Qs. And then it finally fought through and kind of broke the high day. And this is one of those where a lot of people, we used to talk about the 30-minute orb, or this is roughly the 30-minute orb here. And you don't really want to necessarily chase the breakout. You want to kind of chase the back test. So see, we break out and it kind of comes back and then it breaks out again, fake out. And so a lot of times what you can do is kind of just draw another line over the high of where the breakout is, and you can see this wick matches up with the close of these candles. So that's a pretty defined line, and look at these, they're closing and opening right underneath it. So when you see this kind of get above it, then you could get in and ride that up. I definitely don't mind that at all. And then again, this is you're kind of watching for a bounce. Really never happens here. You lose it, you reclaim it. Maybe we're trying to see if we can't break out there. If we do a trend line here, yeah, there's really just never a close above it. And then off we go to the downside. Sorry. And it's kind of the same thing. Look at this, just walking sideways. We do get a nice breakdown. I know Casey's great at chasing these. I shouldn't say chasing, at playing these when we get under the 200. When you close under the 200 EMA here and below your trend line, I think that's a good little opportunity there. You could even just put a stop right up here, a really tight stop above the high of this candle, because that would mean you'd get kind of back. You take out the previous candle with this, you'd have a nice reversal, take out 2 candles and reclaim the 200. So real tight risk to reward there. You could play that. Here's a play you might have got off sides on late in the day. Nice walk up and then breaks down, so you're thinking, okay, we're going to at least maybe come back down into the zone. It basically never does it and walks sideways and goes back up. So yeah, it might have been one. You got stopped, or you might have trailed or broke even somewhere in here as it was stalling out. So anyways, with that said, hopefully some of this was helpful. It wasn't great action to try to trade today. And so we'll see back at it tomorrow, and probably actually won't make a video tomorrow. We'll probably try to make one or two next week, and then again the following week, which would be like the week of, what would that be? The week of maybe like the 14th. Then we'll really get back into doing some videos. So hope everyone has a good, strong finish to the week and good weekend ahead. Thanks for watching, and talk to you soon.